What's up, ladies and gents? Team East Coast Gaming here. We float to YCS Philly. Our teammate Blake Morrison, top 64. Blake, do you have any shout-outs?
Yeah, so obviously, ECG Games guys, all my friends that came here helped me test all weekend, and everybody I tested with on Dueling Book. Dueling Book named Jim Halpert. I've been doing so much grinding, and a lot of people, I don't actually know who you are in real life, but you've been helping me. Common Box, all the guys from Edmonton, they're awesome. They helped me with my list as well. And then also my girlfriend Shay, she's extremely supportive, like absolutely insanely supportive of me playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In all my spare time, which I really appreciate. After that, my other friends from Edmonton, like Tyler, Sherwood, all them. Yeah, other than that, good to go.
Perfect. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on our videos for any content you want to see. Let's get into it.
Cool. So it's just Kashtira, and it's funny because the ban list just dropped, so here it is. But so we got 3 Unicorn, 3 Fenrir, 2 Rise Heart, Scare Claw, pretty standard. The only difference that you can maybe argue is the second Rise Heart. I just like playing 2, kind of because of the grind game, but mostly because I'm scared to play less than 9 names, because it does come up where you like summon it and have a spell to play, and I hate breaking on the deck. Part of that is because I also cut Desires, because with main decking Shifter and Prosp, there's like 6 cards that you can draw that are all bad off Desires, so I didn't want to play that, so I wanted to add more consistency in just the engine. And then, like, of course, with Droll being so prevalent, having this in your hand isn't always terrible. But, like, yeah, sometimes it can be worse than just having a hand trap. More engine, and these, so you have to play 3, and then the trap, that sucks to have in your hand most of the time. More engine. So 3 Book of Moon, this card's insane. I was going to play Eclipse, but then in testing I realized that going first with Eclipse doesn't feel as good as you may think it is. A lot of the time, like, my engine will get stopped right away, and then I'll Eclipse the board, and then my opponent will draw 3, and if I can't kill them that turn, it's really just over. So I decided to just stick with Book of Moons and find other ways. 2 talents, I wanted to main deck this because with hand traps, anytime I got hand trapped and could keep playing, this card would just rip their hand of the problem. I know exactly what their hand is, so I knew exactly how to play my turn, and it was like an FTK every time. Realistically, there could even be a 3rd one in here. It was more so I had 38 cards, and these were the last 2, because everything else is a 3 of, so I just kind of felt like everything else was more important, but that's more debatable. So these are kind of like the tech cards for going first and second that kind of help you get past whatever board the hand traps don't prevent. Because if you just play 18 hand traps, sometimes they end on 1 negate, and then your Unicorn doesn't go off and you lose. So you kind of like having this extra gas to help you push. And then like Book is good going first or second. 3 Shifter, because although it is a cash meta still, there's a lot of rogue decks, and I only played against like 3 cash in the actual main event, which that's just variance, right? But like this was going hard all day. Then 3 Imperm, 3 Ash, and 3 Nib for just the generic hand traps. Ash because I wanted it in either the main or side for decks like Branded and random rogue decks, and it hits everything. I decided it wasn't worth having in the side because I need it in my game 1 against Branded, because that deck can just get like pupping you and you lose. Labyrinth, like I need to be winning the game 1s against these really hard rogue decks, and if it wasn't these, it probably would have been like more talents or eclipses, and I'd rather just have at least like 9+3 ways to slow decks down. Nibs honestly are the most give and take card in my deck. I put them in basically just for the Kashmir. Like it's kind of helpful against super heavy, but like it doesn't stop them if it's your only card. If it's your only card in your hand, sometimes it doesn't even stop them if it's your only card with another card. And then of course you put it on the board, and now you need to like use your battle phase to get rid of it if you don't open Birth, which sucks. But when you go against the mirror first or second and you clear like their whole push, you just feel so good. You like can't lose that game. So I wanted it in for all 3 games against mirrors. That worked out. I did actually do that to mirrors a few times, which felt good. That is the main deck. Field Center, we got these are the tokens Konami has provided for us.
They're Starlight, by the way.
Yes. My tokens. Then for the extra deck, Rise Hearts, you gotta play 3 because people rip your Rise Hearts. 2 Era, Diablosis, Dark Armed, 2 Zeus, 2 Big Eye. 2 Big Eye because I was finding in testing I was stealing a lot. Especially if I could like Book of Moon certain cards, force in a Rise Heart, then as I play my turn, I give their Rise Heart like 100 materials, and then I just take it. That felt really good, so I kind of wanted to have the option to have one after they Diablosis banish me. And when they Diablosis my extra deck and see 2 Big Eye, they don't really feel good about hitting anything. Other than this, it would be a Draco Sack, which even in the trap matchup, I felt like almost never came up. So I just decided not to play it. 2 Zeus mandatory. Baron, I'm playing 3 Ash in the main, and like this does come up a lot actually when you open like a good hand with Ash. And then Goliath, these are my 2 prosperity targets. Goliath because like random trap decks and runic, and then like prosperity into gamma. You need to have this for on your top of your Rise Heart so you don't lose it. Entis, you can choose between a few of the other options to deal with the board. I know this one's bad because it's like if they kaiju you don't pop anything. But I was really scared of getting Kurikara for like 3 and then not having a way to deal with the 6k Kurikara. So like when they hit your Rise with the Kurikara, you just pop the Kurikara. Now they don't have a 6k, they're not summoning your Fenrir back on your turn. It feels really good. Let's see for the extra. Then for the side is probably where we take like, and then sorry, Donner. This like almost never comes up, but I'm scared one day I'll use talents and won't have a way to get rid of the monster. So it's there. For the side, this is where things get like a little more interesting because for the hand traps in this side, I chose to play Gamma and Ogre. So there's no Droll at all in this deck. As I went through my matchups, I realized Droll is literally just a card for Super Heavy. And a lot of the time when you Droll or Shifter them, they end on a Baguska, and then you're still hoping you draw like an Imperm or Book of Moon to play through the Baguska if you can't get to a Scareclaw super easily. And like, so I could play Droll. This is the biggest issue, is playing Droll over the Ogre. But then I didn't have enough non-engine to beat like every other rogue deck in the game, which was super, super frustrating. Like Branded was going crazy. Like if you could Ogre Quem, that's not bad. Like you need to stop Branded before they do the combo. You can't like Book of Moon shit later. Same what goes with Ogre. Like the format's so, not Ogre, Gamma. Format's so wide. I want a card that's good against every single matchup I play against going second. And then I also put just this in against the Mirror. The logic for this is if I can Ogre like Unicorn, and then that stops them from doing full combo, and they have to like do this weird funky play with Birth Back, summon a Fenrir, summon Rise, and then like do like a Rise Pass or like Diablosis a Rise Pass if they can't lock my zones. Any kind of way where you're not pressured to have 5 zones locked because you hand trap them first, like with an Imperm or Ash. You beat the Arise Pass so easily with this list because you're playing 2 talents, then you're playing 3 Econ, Duster, and Thrust. So like with these 6 cards, and you make them go first in the Mirror, by the way. You slow them down with a few hand traps, and then you just like take their Arise somehow with the talents or the Thrust or the Econs, and you're just golden. You take their Arise, you put like a million materials on it. You can either turn it into a Zeus or just play with it. By like putting your own Arise on top of it, and you just get so much value, it's insane. It's way easier to break their board going second. And then like another Lightning Storm, this is the 15th card. And then the point Herald, that's to go with the Thrust basically. That's just for if I get played against Pearly, you know, they draw in standby phase, and then you rip the Pearly monster, which I did that once to someone, and they just kind of had no play after that. So I respected that deck a little bit. The guys in my testing group played a lot of Pearly, and they were rolling me in testing, and I started learning how to play a little better against it. In the middle of the tournament, I realized the best line to play against Pearly was just to end on Diablosis with this and rip a Zeus, and then rip another Zeus at the start of their turn with this, and rip like 8 more cards out of their deck. And then if you're just grinding with the Pearly cards and not Zeus, it's really easy to outgrind. This strategy doesn't really matter as much anymore in theory because Diablosis is being banned. But if you play any money tournaments over the next week, there you go. That's a cool line.
Hashtag new list.
Exactly. So that's basically the list for the YCS. I went top 64. X2-1. I had to win 3 in a row this morning, which I did, thankfully. And then I got knocked out of top 64 against Eldritch. Game 3, I had to go second into Takobo, Skill Drain, Anti-Spell, and I just was summoning a monster, and it was getting destroyed every turn. There's nothing I could do. So that was unfortunate. Maybe that comes down to me not playing enough back row removal, but the format's like so wide, I wanted to be able to deal with every other deck as well. And I beat 3 other trap decks throughout the tournament, so it sucks the one I lose to is in top 64. But yeah, that's what it is. Excited to go to Nats and go with all my friends for that as well.
And like Blake said, we'll be at Nats, the whole team. So Thank you, Blake. And remember, guys, link in bio if ever you guys are looking for cards or anything. And see you guys in the next video.